So good day, everyone, once again. Right now, we are at the midpoint or the conjuncture of this 13-part series, which talks about the derivative houses. And for this episode, we will go on to talk about the 12 other facets using the derivative method for the 7th house, which is our focus. And by the way, this video will be available to my YouTube members first before it will be premiered to the public. So to check out perks of joining this channel as a member, like early access and also like members only posts, etc., you may want to click the link in the description box below to actually find out more. And also, as part of the members shout out, I would just like to extend a special thanks to Jessica Talamantes, which actually joined this YouTube channel as a Cosmic Lighters tier member. And for this YouTube channel, I just want to keep things simple. So I've only designed 2 specific tiers for your consideration, of course, and you may find out more when you click the link in the description box below. So for other ways to support this channel as well, you may want to consider super thanks, which will be one of the icons in the bottom right of this video. So without further ado, let's jump into the derivative meanings of the 7th house. So we will be starting from our area of concern being the 7th house. And the 7th house is basically the first divisional house from the 7th, because what we want to end up with as the resultant house will be the 7th. So the first from the 7th, what can this mean? This may actually describe the personal appearance that's based on mirroring another, or this can be talking about personal appearance that's based on being controversial of sorts, because that's what the 7th house can also be about. And this may also describe one's personal appearance may be resembling one's maternal grandmother or paternal grandfather. And why maternal grandmother? This is because maternal grandmother is the 10th divisional house away from the 10th. This is how we end up with the 7th. And the paternal grandfather is because is the father of the father. So it's the 4th from the 4th. This is also when we end up with the 7th house as well. And this may also give a description of one's own nieces and nephews. And that's because the 7th house is basically 5 divisional houses away from the 3rd. Because the 5th from the 3rd, it basically means the children of our siblings. That's our nieces and nephews, right? And so the 7th house can also represent our own nieces and nephews. And because this is the first divisional house away from the 7th, this actually gives the physical description of or appearance of them. I hope this is clear. And the first from the 7th, this can also be talking about one's life is oriented towards partnership, cooperation, competition, debates, advertising, public relations is also the 7th house, arbitrations, forming alliances is also the 7th house, domain. One's life can also be oriented towards the court of law, because 7th house can mean that. Prosecutions as well. Also rivalry, warfare, dealings with the public, or even unions as well. Because 7th house is usually correlated with the house that normally that's normally associated with the sign of Libra. Also, one of the meanings here can be what comes first to one is to serve the needs of other people and to keep the peace as well. Also, another variation of the first from the 7th can be developing awareness helps one to accept one's shadow, because the 7th house is the furthest away from the 1st house of self. So this can represent like light and shadow. And also the seventh house, if I actually think about it, every day the sun goes to set at the seventh house cusp. And that's when day officially transitions to night. And so the sun basically dims. And there's a demarcation point at the seventh house cusp where day goes into night. And last but not least, this may also be talking about one notices upfront the relationship between things, because seventh house is the house of relationships. So if we actually move forward with the next house, with the area of concern being the sixth house, this is two divisional houses away from the sixth. This is how we end up with the seventh house. And so the second from the sixth. This can mean that personal resources are brought to the workplace environment. And this may also be talking about earning one's income via the grind, the daily grind of it all. Okay. And this may also be because sixth house with our area of concern can be talking about the path of service as well, or being of service to other people. So this may include dog groomers and trainers. So one may actually earn one's income via that route, second from the sixth. This may also be talking about one feels security with animals around them, or when they interact with animals. Another variation of this meaning can be personal disposable income has direct correlation with one's health or health condition. Another variation of this can be accumulating work-related expenses. And last but not least, what I can think of, second from the sixth, this can be the values, possessions, or income of one's paternal aunts and uncles. And that's because paternal aunts and uncles is basically the sibling of our father. So the sixth house, if I actually do a further derivative, this can be the third derivative house from the fourth. The fourth represents the father, and three divisional houses away, or the third divisional house, which represents sibling of the dad, is our paternal aunts and uncles. And if we actually move forward with the next combination, so our area of concern starts from the fifth house. So this is three divisional houses away to reach the seventh house here. So it's the third from the fifth. So this can be talking about the environment has impact on one's creative self-expression, communication style, also has a creative flair that's perhaps also childlike and playful. So I just want to repeat the environment. This is the three divisional houses away, has an impact on one's creative self-expression, essentially the fifth house domain in terms of theme. Or this can be the communication style, which is three divisional houses away, has a creative flair, or is somewhat childlike and playful, which is the area of concern being the fifth house. This may also give some kind of description in terms of the mentality of one's firstborn child. Firstborn child is represented by the fifth house cusp or fifth house, depending whether you're using whole signs or Placidus. And three divisional houses away means the mentality of something, or the short journeys of our firstborn child. But the fifth house can also be representing children in general, the children that we have. Another variation of this combination can be One's work as a magazine writer, three divisional houses away, for a love advice column, essentially the fifth house domain, love advice column. And third from the fifth, this can also be the learning pattern of one's child or children, particularly the firstborn as well. And last but not least, this can be talking about blogging about one's love and romantic affairs. Last but not least, what I can think of when it's third from the fifth, this can be inferring that one is a chatterbox in one's downtime. Downtime is the fifth house domain, being a chatterbox. Talking is three divisional houses away in terms of theme. Or this can be talking about side trips that one takes while on vacation, because vacation is basically grounded in the fifth house in terms of its theme. And side trips, that's the three divisional houses away in terms of meaning. So third from the fifth, side trips, one takes while on vacation. And if we were to jump forward, by starting our area of concern being the fourth house, so to hit the seventh house, that's what we want. This is four divisional houses away from the fourth to hit the seventh house. So it's the fourth from the fourth. This is the combination we're trying to decode or delineate here. And this can be describing one's paternal grandfather, fourth from the fourth. And or this can mean the end of life of one's paternal figure growing up as well. This can be one of the side meanings. And it also talks about the familial relationships, cultural inheritances, and family traditions are the basis of one's need to feel emotionally safe and secure and to put down roots. Fourth from the fourth. Another variation of this meaning can be home and family are synonymous, for better or for worse, or that one might have the inability to rest, W-R-E-S-T, oneself from one's family, home, and heritage. This can also mean that the home and family traditions have a strong bearing on one's inner base of operation and or psychological foundation as well. This can also be talking about, one is about wanting a private space to call home. And last but not least, fourth from the fourth, this can be wanting to have a home of one's own as well. So if we actually move forward to talk about the next combination, starting with the area of concern being from the third house, this is five divisional houses away from the third, fifth from the third. That's how we end up with the seventh. So this can be talking about creative self-expression comes easily in one's everyday interactions with other people. This can also be romance novels, investment journals, and sports heroes is what one usually read about or derive personal ideas from. This can also be talking about the description of one's nieces and nephews, like what I delineated earlier, because this is five divisional houses away from the third, which is the children of our siblings, which is our nieces and nephews essentially. And this may also be talking about one's children, particularly the firstborn. He or she may have influence over one's approach to education, teaching, and learning. This may also be talking about one's, one can be involving in illustrating books. Fifth from the third, illustrating is five divisional houses away. Books is the area of concern here. which is the third house. And last but not least, what I can think of here can be relaxation comes through or via one's conversation and writing, fifth from the third. Okay, so now let's quickly move on to the next combination here. So we are starting with the area of concern being the second house. This is 6 divisional houses away to hit the 7th house. So it's the 6th from the 2nd. So 6 from the 2nd. This can be talking about that which serves ways to earn money for ourselves. This can also mean animals and pet-related services is what one spends his or her money on. This can be also talking about diet, nutrition, and exercise affect one's own self-worth and esteem. This also can be talking about health-related issues like diseases may manifest when one is out of touch with one's survival needs as well. Another meaning of this can be retaining a job ensures one's sense of physical security. And another variation of this, 6 from the 2nd, can be practicing ceremonial magic is what one values and can make money from. I have also seen the 6th from the 2nd, this combination, can also be someone who's a dietitian, working as a dietitian for their income source, or someone who works as a like a trainer in the gym as well. That's how they earn their dough, money, 6 from the 2nd, by doing 6 house-like things. That's how they can get their income from the 2nd house cusp, all right, or 2nd house. And now we move on to starting from the 1st house. This is 7 divisional houses away from the 1st. So what it can mean here is that one's open enemies have an effect on one's image or perception of the world. This may also mean that the need for a partner is one of the first things people notice about oneself. Also, this may also mean that others have to bend to one's own behavior and mannerisms, 7th from the 1st. And another meaning here can be one's formation of relationships and attitude towards contracts and negotiations helps to build one's persona. Another variation of this meaning is that being a devil's advocate is how one acts. And last but not least, being polarizing is the effect one has on other people. Okay, so this is what, in short, 7th from the 1st, this can be what is referring to. And now let's move on to the 12th house as our area of focus. So from the 12th house, this is 8 divisional houses away to hit the 7th house. So this is 8th from the 12th. This is what we are trying to combine and delineate using the derivative house method. And this can be talking about the investment. This can be psychologically, financially, and emotionally. One makes towards meditation and prayer and connecting with the astral realm. And this also can be talking about the investment that one makes when one takes self-sacrificing tendencies to the extreme. This also can be one of the combination of things. And 8th from the 12th. This can also be talking about emotional entanglements may help one to release grief and sorrow. And anything that's 12th house related because this is our area of focus, can mean one's self-undoing. And anything that's 8 divisional houses away, this can be talking about taxes. So tax evasion can be one's own self-undoing. Or one getting into debt with bank loans can be one's self-undoing also. Another variation of this combination can be a therapist who analyzes and researches dreams, because 12th house can mean dreams. Because the 12th house can be talking about our bedroom where we go to sleep. So dreams actually is very fitting here as one of the expanded meanings. 8th from the 12th, this can be the capacity for deep emotional interactions with others that can be a way for one to escape from daily responsibilities. And last but not least, this can be talking about the death, rebirth, taxes, or bank loans of one's secret enemies, 12th house secret enemies. 12th house can be one's maternal aunt or uncle as well. And why did I say maternal aunts and uncles? Because they are the sibling of one's mother. So it's 3 divisional houses away from the 10th. The 10th house represents our maternal figure growing up. This can be our biological mother or someone who served us in the motherly role growing up. So 3 divisional houses away represent their siblings. So maternal aunts and uncles are represented by the 12th house. And if we actually move forward to the next combination, so we are starting from our area of concern being from the 11th. So this is 9 divisional houses away to reach the 7th house. So it's the 9th from the 11th. This is what we are trying to delineate using the derivative house method. And this can be talking about the purpose behind a social movement, be it for or against those groups. And this can be talking about religion or philosophy that shapes one's long-term goals and dreams and aspirations. And this may also be talking about the exploration of metaphysical ideas within groups or institutions that one is involved in. And this may also be talking about being part or a member of an academic club or journalist association of sorts. Another variation of this meaning can be one's belief system is part of the hive mind, because the 11th house is the hive mind essentially in terms of its core meaning. And last but not least, this can be talking about the religious attitudes and long journeys of one's own stepchildren. One's own children in general is represented by the 5th house. One's own stepchildren is 7 divisional houses away from the 5th. So we end up with the 11th house being representative of one of our stepchildren in essence. And if we actually move forward, so we are starting from the 10th house now. So this is 10 divisional houses away to reach the 7th house. That's what we want. So this is 10th from the 10th. So this can be describing one's own maternal grandmother. 10th from the 10th equals 7. The mother of our mother, so it's our maternal grandmother. And this may also be talking about becoming widely known or infamous for what one does out in the world. This can be also talking about one is known for one's relationship with authority or the bosses in the office. 10th from the 10th. This may also be talking about someone who's an authority on society standards and expectations, or this can describe someone who's an authority on achievement, awards, and recognition as well. Last but not least, 10th from the 10th. This can be talking about being ambitious for the sake of being ambitious, or someone who's being ambitious for the sake of one's maternal influence on oneself. So if we actually move on to the next one, so we are starting from the 9th house as our area of focus. So for this is 11 divisional houses away from the 9th to hit the 7th house. So we are trying to decode here the 11th from the 9th house combination using the derivative method, 11th from the 9th. This can be talking about making friends, acquaintances, friends with benefits, associates, or happy hour buddies. These are all containing meanings of the 11 divisional houses. Away from something from the 9th. When one travels abroad. So one actually makes friends with benefits, associates, got to know happy hour buddies when one travel abroad. So this can be one of the meanings of this combination, 11th from the 9th. And another variation of this meaning can be making friends with people who see the big picture, or who are philosophical, who attended university, or this can be through a mutual interest in academia, journalism, or publishing. This can also be talking about making friends with people who share an interest in worldly travels as well. 11th from the 9th. 11th from the 9th can also be talking about one may be a member to an association for lawyers, or journalists, or priests and priestesses, because those are 9th house related stuff, or belonging to an association that's for clergymen. There's also one of the 9th house kind of occupation as well. And last but not least, 11th from the 9th. This can be talking about one's friends with benefits, acquaintance, associates, and happy hour buddies, having an international, cross-cultural flavor to them as well. Because the 9th house is essentially talking about things that's foreign to you. So this is what I can think of pertaining to this combination. And for the last derivative combination for the 7th house for this episode, we will be starting from the area of concern being the 8th house. So this is 12 divisional houses away from the 8th to hit the 7th house. This is what we want. So we are trying to delineate the combination of the 12th from the 8th here. So what I can think of here will be, this may be describing the subjective factors, 12 divisional houses away, of one's transformation, attitudes to life and death, other people's resources, sex, intimacy, and the desire to dig deep. 12 from the 8th. Another variation of this meaning can be 12th from the 8th. This can be describing the paranormal phenomena within a haunting of sorts. 12th from the 8th. And another combination here can be the desire to escape from reality through sexual or intimate relationships or emotional entanglements of sorts. This also can be talking about one experiences loss and sadness and grief and sorrow when one deals with debt, bank loans, or taxes. The second part of the sentence talks about 8th house related themes as well. 12 divisional houses from the 8th. This can be big pleasures, 12 divisional houses away, that one derives from tantric practices from the 8th, or from one feeling vulnerable, because 8th house is where we actually find ourselves vulnerable in more ways than one. So I hope this 12 other facets of the 7th house has kind of opened up your eyes to see the different layers of the 7th house in a more holistic way. Until then, I'm looking forward to delineate the 12 other facets of the 8th house using the derivative house method. And till then, take care. And if you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel as a member, please do check out the link in the description box below. All right, so take care and see you soon.